Hello, everyone, and welcome to the annual award ceremony of the Association of Foreign Press Correspondents in the United States. I'm Cecil McCarthy.
And I'm Miriam Spritzer.
As everyone can see this year, our awards ceremony is virtual, but still a celebration of our foreign correspondents community. We may not have the human contact with each other, but thanks to technology, for the next hour, we will be able to connect with many of our fellows and board members from New York, Washington, D.C., and Los Angeles.
The Association of Foreign Press Correspondents in the United States, it's the official representation for foreign correspondents living and working in America. The Association of Foreign Press Correspondents in the U.S. believes in education as a vehicle of advancing, expanding, and reinforcing foreign journalists' position and success in America. With representation in New York, Washington, D.C., and Los Angeles, the AFC-USA is committed to providing educational resources, mentoring, access to a network of experts, and scholarship to foreign journalists who work in the United States. But before we get started, Cecil and I have a few remarks on the state of the news industry and the challenge ahead. Cecil.
Thank you, Miriam. Well, I just want to say how honored I am to be here to celebrate the important work foreign correspondents and indeed all journalists are doing around the world. 2020 has been a big news year, to say the least, dominated by the worst global health crisis in more than 100 years. Many journalists are putting their own health and in some countries, even their own freedom at risk to provide factual, even life-saving information to the public. In fact, the Committee to Protect Journalists just announced that a record number of reporters have been jailed this year as governments crack down on coverage of COVID-19 and political unrest. The pandemic is also an accelerant, and that's what I want to talk about with you, intensifying two challenges already facing the news industry: the destruction of local news and the surge of disinformation online. Now, although these may seem unrelated, they're not, and we need to tackle both these problems. Let's start with local news, which is one of the biggest casualties of the COVID-19 outbreak. As reporters cover the pandemic, ad revenue at the local level, which had already been in a downturn, is now in a free fall. Local businesses have halted direct advertising, and news outlets have dropped their paywalls so that people can access critical information about the coronavirus. The result, many local newspapers are either on life support or shutting down. And this is creating news deserts across the United States with more than 3 million people living in communities without any local news. And when that happens, elected officials become less accountable, corruption goes unchecked, and people become more polarized and less likely to vote. It also leads to an information void that gets filled with disinformation and conspiracy theories. And it is really hard to understate the enormity of this problem, especially when it comes to COVID-19. The World Health Organization has even called it an infodemic and says that false information is spreading faster than the virus. PolitiFact, in fact, has just named claims that deny and downplay COVID-19 as the lie of the year. These falsehoods are a direct result of what First Draft's Claire Wardle calls data deficits. They happen when demand for information on a topic is high and the supply of credible information is low. She says that bad actors are exploiting and filling these data deficits with disinformation. I teach news literacy, and I can tell you it is hard these days to separate falsehoods from facts, even for sophisticated news consumers. We now have right-wing outlets on all the platforms, TV, radio, and online, that portray themselves as news organizations, but they are really portals to alternate realities where conspiracy theories flourish. So what can be done? Well, there are no quick fixes. But for one, we can start thinking about local news as an essential service that should be supported by public funding. There are also innovative models to pay for local news, like crowdfunding or going nonprofit. The Salt Lake City Tribune became the first major newspaper to do this last year. Big tech companies could also pay for local news on their platforms. Spain, Germany, France, and Australia have all proposed legislation that would force Google and Facebook to share digital ad profits with the news media. And Washington Senator Maria Cantwell is calling for a similar arrangement. And of course, we can all subscribe to our favorite local news outlets. Now, tackling the rampant disinformation online, I think, is the bigger challenge. But more local news would mean fewer of those data deficits. Big tech companies can also change their algorithms to downgrade falsehoods. They know exactly how to do this, but have resisted because it reduces traffic and lowers engagement. We can also educate the public about what is good journalism and call out fringe outlets that are spreading falsehoods. Journalism's most critical role is to provide people with the information they need to be free and self-governing and ultimately safe. That means holding power to account, calling out false claims, and putting facts first. Your work as foreign correspondents could not be more important. And I don't think it's hyperbole to say that this could be one of journalism's finest hours. So on behalf of the AFC, thank you to all the foreign correspondents here for all you do. And thank you to the companies who support this work through scholarships and to the board members who give their time so generously. I am truly honored to be here to recognize the fine work of the AFC-USA and its members. Miriam?
What beautiful remark, Cecil, because as a foreign correspondent from Brazil and who is also a board member of the AFC, it is so important to point out the importance of real and factual news. I think we're living in such a complicated time to really realize what is good information and what is not. And this is why an organization like AFC is so important. And also one thing to point out as a foreign correspondent, a lot of the times we are the people who are representing the United States to our local countries. So it is important to have people that, for example, are here, that are understanding the culture, are understanding the political scenario, understand the culture, the habits and how the American people think and work. So we can then report and explain clearly with good information and with good facts what happens here, whether it is hard news, as we're talking about the pandemic, politics, economics, or if we're talking, like in my case, I do a lot of stories on culture and entertainment. And I think in many ways we are showing how the United States works. And this is the Association of Foreign Press Correspondents in the United States. So it's a big part of our job.
Well, Miriam, thank you for those remarks. And in case you didn't notice, my dog Mimi heartily agreed and gave you a 2 thumbs up bark for them.
Well, she's Mimi, I'm Mimi, we both agree. So let's go with this. Well, this year, I don't know if you're aware of this, but this is a very special year for the Association of Foreign Press Correspondents, because despite of all the challenges that we faced this year with the pandemic, the economical crisis, the political crisis, election, and so on, we actually broke a record on the support raised from our private sector partners, the stakeholders, individual supporters, and of course, our members. And also, during this year, we have adjusted our strategy to meet the needs of our foreign correspondents community, because a lot has changed. We no longer could meet in person and do our in-person events, so we had to adapt and strengthen our presence through monthly educational programs, establish crucial partnerships to co-develop programs together, and we were also able to award our distinguished scholarships to more people this year. And there is more exciting news. Every year, the Association of Foreign Press Correspondents honors those individuals who, with their contributions and excellency in the fields of journalism and public service, set an example in our society, nominated by the board of the Association and Club of Foreign Press Correspondents. This year, we are so proud to announce 2 remarkable honorees. Christiane Amanpour from CNN, distinguished for her lifetime contributions to the excellency of journalism, and Dr. Anthony Fauci for his lifetime contributions to public service, particularly in this historic year. He has demonstrated the importance of science and facts over political games. In a while, we will connect with Christiane Amanpour in London and Dr. Anthony Fauci in Washington, D.C., who will share with us their special remarks.
All right, Miriam, but before we get started with the messages from our board members and the presentations of our scholarship awardees for this year, we want to acknowledge our partners who sponsor the Association of Foreign Press Correspondents. Their unconditional support allows our organization to operate our educational programs to run, our scholarship awards to increase, and our impact to expand. We are so grateful for all their support. In particular, we want to say thank you to Bayer, Microsoft and Microsoft News, Toyota, Procter & Gamble, Libra Group, the organization Win This Fight, Stop Human Trafficking, the Nathan Cummings Foundation, Masterclass, NASDAQ, and our partners Concordia and the Meridian International Center. Thank you to all our sponsors. And now it is time to get the award ceremony started. Now it's time to connect with the chairwoman of the association and the Club of Foreign Press Correspondents, Nancy Prager-Kamel. Nancy, the floor is yours.
It is indeed with great honor and pleasure that we celebrate together our second anniversary of the Association of Foreign Correspondents in the United States. Tonight I come before you to share some thoughts on the increasingly critical importance of journalism and the role that it plays in all of our lives. We do this in spite of the unequal challenge that we have all shared together this year in combating the COVID-19 crisis. Although we have faced difficulties before, there has probably never been a time comparable to this in modern history when the voice of the people needed to be amplified to bring information, comfort, and diversion. The importance and validity of a free and honest media has been aggressively and categorically challenged and given the divisive title of, quote, fake news, end quote. Now we look to the voice of our next generation to remain steadfast and vocal. By providing scholarships and programs, our foundation contributes to the future of well-educated news and media representatives imbued with the highest regard for objective investigation and reporting. In the Association of Foreign Correspondents, we look back on 2020 as a year of massively significant partnerships, co-ventures, and expanded relationships, not only internally within the world of journalism, but externally with our valued supporters, sponsors, and our partners. We have harnessed the tools of communication and amplified the ability to share information from world-leading experts on issues as diversified as mental health, finance, geopolitical issues, etc. We have launched a club of the AFC to facilitate the connectivity of our journalist members. In this challenging time, when there appears to be disparate voices, never has the role of truth-sayer been so significant. We have learned the meaning and importance of speaking truth to power, and in many cases had to accept the unpleasant results. To this end, we have totally supported our journalists and defended their right to speak out without consequences. I, as chairman of the board of the AFC, proudly salute the work of my fellow board members, our valued constituents, as well as our president, Thanos Damidis. Our good intention and efforts would have been greatly diminished if not for the consistent and generous support of our partners at the Association of Foreign Press Correspondents USA. We sincerely thank Bayer and Ray Kerins, Senior Vice President, Head of Corporate Affairs, Microsoft and Doug Dawson, General Manager, Global Communications, Toyota and Scott Vazin, Vice President and Chief Communications Officer, Procter & Gamble and Damon Jones, Chief Communications Officer, Libra Group and George Logotitis, Chairman and Chief Executive Officer, the Nathan Cummings Foundation, and from our advisory board, we thank for the effort and time our Chairman, Secretary Jay Johnson, and members, President and CEO of Meridian International Center, Ambassador Stuart Holliday, Chris Lauder from Bayer, Maeve Duvalet from Goldman Sachs, Penny Manis from CNN, and Mitzi Perdue from Win This Fight. We thank you, and we look forward to seeing you next year to celebrate our third anniversary together.
Thank you so much, Nancy. Our organization owes you so much for your leadership. And now, directly from Washington, D.C., we will connect with Ambassador Stuart Holliday. Ambassador Holliday is an advisor to the association and the president and CEO of the International Meridian Center in Washington, D.C., which has been a valuable partner to us and a great resource for foreign journalists. Ambassador Holliday, welcome to our ceremony, and thank you and the International Meridian Center for your constant support to the association, its members, and our community.
Congratulations to the Association of Foreign Correspondents and to Nancy Prager-Camel, and thank you to Cecil McCarthy for that introduction. I'm Stuart Holliday, and I'm delighted to be joining you today to acknowledge and celebrate these wonderful honorees. Meridian has been working for over 60 years to strengthen international cooperation, and at the heart of that has been a lot of work to bring journalists from the United States together with their counterparts overseas, working like the AFC, with the Foreign Press Center, emerging leaders, social media entrepreneurs, journalists, who are fighting really to bring us the transparency and truth that's necessary for our international system to function. And at the heart of diplomacy is the role of a free press. And in order for us to truly have the engagement we need around the world, we have to not only speak, but listen. And as part of that listening is really understanding the context and the motivations behind different policies. And I'd just like to say that as we sit here today amidst the pandemic and having gone through a bruising election cycle, it's never been more important. And that's true around the world. And I would like to say that the work that the association does is critical to that in providing education and strengthening the support for international correspondents here in Washington, where we have many, and also protecting and looking out for the interests of journalists. We have seen over the last year enormous threats to freedom of speech and freedom of the press around the world, and we must stand together, and we underscore the commitment to what is a vital aspect of democracy. At Meridian, again, we're proud to partner on a journalism initiative with the association, building on our work over the past few decades with foreign correspondents and journalists. And we hope to take that forward in a way that contributes to underscoring and reinforcing the importance of their role. Tonight, as you celebrate and as we celebrate the achievements of these two remarkable people, Christiane Amanpour and Anthony Fauci, first I can think of no more deserving honorees, but also it reflects the stature and the importance that many people, even outside of the journalistic community, feel for the critical role that the press plays. I think that we are at an inflection point, both with partisanship in media as well as the rise of disinformation and misinformation, that we have to take a stand and be very firm in reinforcing the standards that we expect and people expect in terms of providing them a window into how government is held accountable around the world. So congratulations again, and we look forward to a wonderful presentation by the honorees, as well as continued cooperation in this common cause. Thank you very much.
We want to thank Ambassador Holliday and the Meridian International Center again for being part of our awards ceremony here today. And I want to now go to another special guest who represents one of the most important organizations in our community, which along with AFC-USA serves international journalists. We are honored to have with us the president of the International Center of Journalists, Joyce Barnathan. Under her leadership, ICFJ empowers an unparalleled global network to produce news reports that lead to better governments, stronger economies, more vibrant societies, and healthier lives. ICFJ runs a wide variety of high-impact programs focused on media innovation, financial stability, critical issue reporting, and cross-border investigative networks. And we are very, very glad to call this group one of our strongest allies. Let's connect now with ICFJ President Joyce Barnathan.
Thank you, Sissel and Miriam, and thanks to the Association of Foreign Press Correspondents in the United States for all you do to support international journalists here in this country. I also want to congratulate this year's impressive honorees. In many ways, your work and that of other foreign correspondents in the US and abroad is more important than ever. Without a doubt, the COVID-19 pandemic is one of the biggest stories of our lifetime, if not the biggest. Foreign correspondents based in the US have provided essential coverage on how our country is handling the crisis so that communities and leaders back home can learn from our experience, good and bad. And the story is hardly over as our hospitals fill up and our vaccines roll out. The AFC-USA's role of supporting foreign correspondents is so important as they probe global issues such as foreign policy, trade, and human rights. These journalists help the world understand the US better, a most challenging assignment these days. My organization, the International Center for Journalists, was founded 36 years ago by US reporters who wanted to share knowledge of their peers globally. We continue to bring correspondents to the US to deepen understanding and to learn from one another, and many of them, I'm proud to say, are working as foreign correspondents here today. We are grateful to our international colleagues for doing such important work at a most difficult time for the US and the world, and congrats again to this year's stellar winners.
And now we go to a very special guest, our very own Mitzi Perdue, whose support of the association has been so important. Mitzi is a businesswoman, an activist, and an author. She was a syndicated columnist for 22 years, and her environmental column has been distributed to roughly 420 newspapers. She is the founder and president of Win This Fight, Stop Human Trafficking Now, an organization that raises funds and awareness for anti-trafficking. Thank you so much, Mitzi, for standing by our organization and our mission. Let's hear from Mitzi.
Hi, members of the AFPC. I just wanted to share with you why I so much admire what you do. I love your profession. I love the fact that you're in it. And after all, I spent most of my entire career as a journalist and a correspondent. But why do I think it's so important? Well, here's the answer. And we have to go back 2,300 years to get my answer. But the great Athenian statesman Pericles, he used to tell everybody, the secret of happiness is freedom, and the secret of freedom is courage. Well, freedom doesn't exist without a fourth estate, without people who can criticize the government. Because if you really want the government to create happiness for people, here's what's needed. The people who run government have to fear the people as opposed to the people fearing government. And guess what? The absolute best that's ever existed way of having the government fear the people? Having journalists, correspondents, newspaper people, media people, communicators available to speak on behalf of the people to criticize government. The role you play, in my mind, is, this is my opinion, but as important as anything in the entire world. And I congratulate you for being a part of it.
And now it's time to hear from the Deputy Vice President of the Association of Foreign Press Correspondents, Clarissa McNair, who is in New York. Clarissa is a foreign correspondent with World Radio Paris. She is also a founder of PEN Florida, a member of PEN America, the Overseas Press Club, Mystery Writers of America, and New York Women in Film and Television. Clarissa, over to you.
First, I want to thank Miriam and Sissel for the nice introduction. I'm very honored to be Deputy Vice President of this illustrious group. We are an extraordinary group of people. all backgrounds, all nationalities, but all with one idea. We are truth seekers. We are truth finders. We are truth speakers. We are truth writers. And we all believe in the same thing. There are so many different facets to this organization. There are the scholarships where we go through the most amazing resumes, the most incredible letters. It's so difficult to choose. But the people we choose are all of the highest caliber. And it's such an honor to be part of so many good people when we all want the same thing in this time of false news and chaos and confusion. It's another wonderful thing, too, to be in New York City when we are all so far away from our mothership. I am with World Radio Paris.
And now I'm very proud to introduce my peers, some of the board members of the Club of the Association of Foreign Press Correspondents. They are working journalists who were elected by their peers to ensure the organization serves the needs of our community and give our members a voice. So let's hear their voices now.
Hello everyone, this is Bricio Segovia representing Spain. I am the White House correspondent for MVS Radio, which is part of one of the largest media groups in Mexico. I am so honored to be part of the Foreign Correspondents Association and its board. As any other journalist, our job is to make people in power accountable for their actions. When we make them uncomfortable, we know we are asking the right questions, but as foreign correspondents, we bring what I like to call an extra layer of depth. Why? Because we are external observers in this country. We are not necessarily personally invested in the matters we cover, and we bring an international perspective. We are also the eyes and ears for millions of people. Our reports contribute to the understanding of the U.S. overseas, and that adds value to history. Sometimes we are not fully aware of the impact that we journalists have not only in the now, but also in the long run. This is why it is so important to support this community. In times when fake news spread faster than real news, our job becomes even more relevant. Yes, there are governments diminishing our job, but that is because they know the impact we have. Never underestimate the power that you as a journalist have and we as a community can have. Keep doing your job no matter what they say, no matter what they do. We have a public duty and we shall never forget that.
In the last roughly 150 years, communication has developed faster than before over several millennia. It began with the oral communication, and then comes the era of writing. Then came the period of printing, followed by the electronic age, the radio, the television, the telephone, and the computer. Nowadays, in the computer ages, everyone can be a journalist. See the social media. That is why the role of the professional journalist has increased. The responsibility of the professional journalist is summarized in the media ethics. For me, the code of ethics, it is very simple. Ethical journalism is when the journalist does not lie, does not manipulate the environment, the audience. Promise yourself that you are writing, saying, showing the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. If the journalist doesn't tell the truth, the media, it is in trouble. Not only ethically, but legally as well. The responsibility of the professional journalists are growing. We cannot make fake news. We cannot be propagandists or marketing communications. An ethical journalist cannot be an advertising or sponsor organizer. Our job is not to make the news. Our task is to convey it, communicate ethically. That is our responsibility. I wish all of my colleagues the opportunity to their job according to the rules of ethical journalism.
Hello, my name is Benjamin Tete, and I'm a Ghanaian journalist based here in New York. This year, I was privileged to be elected onto the board of the Association of Foreign Correspondents here in the US. I must say that despite the global pandemic and the huge impact it's had on the global community as well as on our operations, I think overall it's been quite a great year for the AFC community. From our events and our various activities, I think it's been a great year and a success. For me, as a foreign correspondent, I know that we play very important roles in not only reporting the news, but also trying to make a meaning of the stories, the developments, back to our audience in our home countries. And to do that, we need contacts, we need resource persons, we need our colleagues to help us in attaining this aim. And this is where the Association of Foreign Correspondents in the USA comes very handy, and I will recommend it to everyone. Well, I look forward to meeting you in one of our events soon, as we pray that this pandemic gets away and our lives get back to normalcy again. I wish you very well. Bye.
Hey guys, how are you? This is Alex Segura, a foreign correspondent based here in the United States. I'm actually in Los Angeles, California, where I'm working for Agencia F, which is the largest newswire service in Spanish worldwide. So we not only serve in Spain, where our headquarters are, but also all the Latin American countries and basically all the Spanish-speaking population worldwide, such as the Hispanic population here in the US. During my career in America, in the United States, I've been based in Texas, then in Washington, D.C., now in California. Now, what did I do there? In Texas, I used to cover immigration topics, mainly going down to the border towns to see and see firsthand what was going on, hear from stories of immigrants that were coming into the United States, and also the population, the U.S. population that was living in those communities. Now, in my Washington, D.C. period, I obviously cover politics, mainly focused on the U.S. Congress, but I also used to cover topics related to economic organizations such as the IMF, the International Monetary Fund, or the World Bank. Now, here in Los Angeles, I'm not reporting as some of you might think about celebrities or the entertainment industry, but reporting on social issues, climate change, immigration as well when I go down to the border, and economic stuff too. So, apart from that, I'm a board member of the Association of Foreign Correspondents, where I proudly serve as the Los Angeles chair. And let me tell you, I'm super humbled to be part of this amazing organization, and having been elected to these positions are something that one not can even dream of, if that's correctly said in English. Now, why I'm part of the association? Because I find so important to protect and to advance our role as a foreign correspondent here in the United States that I couldn't stand still and not doing anything for our fellow colleagues. So I think this is basically the most important part of our association, but let me also highlight our program of scholarships, where we provide opportunities and education to our fellow students that are growing up to become foreign correspondents here in the US, or also other professionals that are already working here in the United States. Having said that, I encourage you to join us, to be part of this amazing group of people, to be able to have this great network of journalists that are passionate about their job and that are looking forward to be connecting with you soon. So let me tell you, I hope you have a great day, and I hope I can see you soon.
So our role as foreign correspondents is important because independent voices, free media, are a crucial tool in any democracies, right? to combat hatred, to counter misinformation, disinformation. The kind of work that we do is vital in holding, powerful individuals, the corporations, the governments accountable for their actions. One might argue that, in the age of social media, the world is much more transparent. And we face more, competition in the provision of information. No doubt to that, so I don't argue with that. But my argument is that only with the presence of foreign correspondents, it's getting harder and harder for the government and for other power holders to say different things to different audiences at home and abroad. Right? And our job is to foster that communication. The better we understand foreign countries, the better we understand our own sometimes, right? But this craft has been under attack recently, and we must defend it. There are many press freedom battles, to be fought, and journalism is dangerous. Let's face it, that's happening increasingly so. But this, threat to openness, in the age of, alternative facts, is what makes, foreign correspondents now more important than ever. Foreign reporters for editorially independent outlets in particular are important for explaining politics and society to the world. We should be protected and encouraged to do our work. Thank you.
And now it is time to meet 7 very special foreign journalists whose exceptional background, intelligence, and hard work distinguish them from many other competitive applicants. They are the winners of our 2020 Scholarship Awards, and we want you to meet each one of them. So let's get started. First up, Sarah Peter is a journalist from St. Lucia. This former United Nations Journalist Fellow and foreign correspondent for Reuters has an intense passion for human rights and climate change reporting. She's a graduate of Columbia University and Cardiff University in Wales, and will be taking a break from journalism to pursue a master's in political science at the University of Albany. Sarah has done foreign reporting all over the world, including Paris, Switzerland, London, and New York. But most of her reporting has been based in the Caribbean, where she is the brainchild of a human rights TV documentary series, Off Limits, and the Global Forum, an initiative aimed at bridging international gaps. Sarah's work in journalism has also been recognized by the Inter-American Press Association and the U.S. Department of State. But her greatest achievement is creating initiatives to impact social change and policy. Please join me in welcoming our first award winner, Sarah Peter.
It is such a pleasure to be addressing you here today. My name is Sarah Peter, and I am from the beautiful Caribbean island of St. Lucia. I am presently pursuing my master's in political science at the University at Albany. I want to first start off by expressing my deepest gratitude to the Association of Foreign Press Correspondents and to all of their supporters who have made this initiative possible. Journalists around the world continue to worry about so many things, including a lack of quality professional journalism, fake news, decreasing funding, and disappearing news staff and newsrooms. In fact, journalism is on so much shaky grounds. Nevertheless, the coronavirus has made things exceedingly worse. In fact, a recent New York Times report indicated that 47,000 journalists in the United States lost their jobs, were sent on leave, or had their pay cuts significantly reduced. Journalists in the Caribbean region are certainly not exempted from this economic disaster. In fact, journalists in the Caribbean region have constantly been faced with similar challenges, or in some circumstances are faced with more daunting obstacles. This is some of the reasons why this award is so imperative. It has helped to contribute to training and more professional journalism. I want to encourage the Association of Foreign Press Correspondents to continue to assist journalists around the world in their endeavors, to continue empowering us so we can face certain obstacles that continue to be placed in our way, to empower us to face social change, human rights violations, and climate change. Talking about climate change, I have been very passionate about making persons more aware and educating members of the public on climate change issues in the Caribbean region. This is specifically because small island developing states like my island suffer significantly from the impacts of climate change. I am hopeful that the United States can rejoin the climate change agreement so that more countries can be in the fight to face this incredible plague. Journalism is so important, but without assistance from organizations like the Association of Foreign Press Correspondents and their supporters, initiatives like these would not be possible. So we want to say another thank you. Foreign correspondents as well as journalists want to express their deepest gratitude to this organization for helping to do their part in making the world a better place.
Our second awardee is Victor Raison. He's a French journalist and photographer born in Switzerland. He is currently a graduate student of Columbia University Journalism School. He has a master's degree in literature from La Sorbonne and a master's degree in photojournalism at the London College of Communication. He started working as a photographer for Le Nouvel Calédonien, New Caledonia's local newspaper. He then settled in Colombia as a freelance photographer and journalist, where he works on a long-term ongoing project documenting Colombia's main harbor, Buenaventura, a city controlled by gangs fighting over the control of the drug trafficking routes. He also focuses on the migration issues with the neighboring Venezuela and the last active guerrilla in the ELN, Ejercicio de Liberación Nacional. Here is Victor.
Hi, my name is Victor Raison. I come from France and I'm currently pursuing a master's degree at Columbia University School of Journalism. Thank you so much for this award. This is a great honor. Thank you to the Foreign Press Correspondents Association. Thank you to the partners from the private sectors that are supporting journalism. It's a pity that we're not in a live ceremony, but nonetheless, I feel very honored to be among such wonderful people that admire journalists, that I admire and that I read daily. Thank you so much for this award again and for supporting me in my career.
Now we will introduce you to Oheneyaba Ama Ente Ose. Oheneyaba is a Ghanaian-born French journalist and a Knight Bagehot Fellow in Economics and Business Journalism at Columbia University's Graduate School of Journalism. She was the research and production editor for Pan-American news organization, The African Report, where she managed magazine production and mainly covered technology and telecom sectors. She also helped launch a podcast series focused on women leaders, profiling high-achieving business executives, politicians, and thinkers in Africa and in the diaspora. She is currently completing an MBA at Columbia Business School, where she serves on the board of the African Business Club. Please welcome Oheneyaba Ama Ente Ose.
Hello, everyone. My name is Oheneyaba Ama Ente Ose. I was born and raised in Accra, Ghana, and since the early 2000s, I've also had the pleasure of calling France home. I'm currently pursuing an MBA at Columbia Business School after spending an academic year at the Graduate School of Journalism as a Knight Bagehot Fellow. I am truly honored to have been selected as one of this year's Scholarship Award recipients, and I'm especially grateful to the Association of Foreign Press Correspondents for this award and for the important work they do supporting and representing journalists, foreign journalists here in the US. I'm equally grateful to partners and sponsors who support AFC-USA in its mission, and for believing in the importance of education as a key tool to help journalists advance in their careers. I want to say thank you to the Knight Badgett Fellowship Program and Columbia Business School for the opportunity I get each day to interact and study alongside incredibly talented students and reporters. Today, our news industry continues to face enormous challenges, from safety concerns and the fight against the spread of false information on the internet, to financial constraints pre-COVID and the added wave of financial anxiety inflicted by this pandemic. But through it all, journalists have not been deterred, and I'm extremely proud of the work we do, holding institutions and companies accountable, exposing crime and corruption, and providing people with the information they need to make informed decisions, whether they are deciding on which products to buy, which stocks to invest in, or which political party to vote for. Journalists are doing incredible work, and I'm inspired by their courage and their commitment to this noble cause. To my fellow recipients, I say congratulations. I am honored to be amongst you. And to everyone who made the time to join us today, thank you very much.
Our next scholarship awardee is In-jeon Kim. In-jeon has worked as an investigative journalist and filmmaker with the public broadcasting station Gwangju MBC in South Korea for the past decade. She is dedicated to reporting about social movements and has co-directed 2 documentaries about Gwangju Uprising and the Candlelight Movement. She unearthed the Platt Memo in 2017, a historically significant memorandum and surviving audio recordings about the White House response to Gwangju Uprising. Her work has received awards from Amnesty International South Korea and the Korean Broadcasters Association. She is also interested in the arts and print journalism. She is an editorial board member of the photography magazine Vostok, as well as a contributor to magazines like The Nation. She is currently in the documentary track at UC Berkeley Graduate School of Journalism. Let's hear what she wants to say.
Hi, my name is In-jeon Kim, and I'm originally from the Republic of Korea. I'm incredibly grateful to be a recipient of this award, whose financial support has made it possible for me to pursue my master's degree in journalism at UC Berkeley. I'd like to use this opportunity to thank the AFC-USA for providing me with this invaluable scholarship, as well as extend my gratitude to all the partners from the private sector who have been supporting the AFC-USA and the remarkable work the organization does for foreign journalists in America. As you may already know, it is quite difficult to secure funding in the Republic of Korea as an older journalist in our mid-career. Most funding bodies prioritize young applicants who are newly entering the industry. Therefore, I feel deeply overwhelmed that an incredible initiative like this exists for someone like me, who is neither a traditional nor a typical recent graduate. I am the daughter of the 2 survivors from the Gwangju Uprising, an infamous uprising that occurred in May 1980 in the city of Gwangju. I feel personally tethered to this tragedy because my parents were able to flee and escape from the violence committed at the hands of the military. In an effort to wrestle with the trauma and guilt that I have inherited from this event, I have dedicated my careers to investigating the Gwangju Uprising fully. After investigating this incident for 7 years, I have uncovered disturbing details about it. I obtained access to personal documents from the White House staff member that proved that the Carter administration was implicated in, and in part responsible for the Gwangju Uprising, contrary to popular belief and statements released by the US government. I am eager to continue my research and investigative work to ensure that members of the Korean public can learn the truth about massacre and find closure and healing. Once I finish my master's degree, I want to spread awareness of various social movements that are occurring across the world and amplify the lost voices for those who have sacrificed their lives for social progress. Given the onslaught of devastating violence that has occurred throughout 2020 and the impact of movements like Black Lives Matter and the protests in Hong Kong, this work is more essential than ever before. I am committed to using this scholarship and the resources at UC Berkeley to ensure that my work as a journalist unites people and pushes societies forward at a time when people are more divided than ever before. Thank you.
Our next scholarship awardee is Obey Martin Manayiti. Obey comes from Zimbabwe. He has been a journalist for 8 years and is currently enrolled in Columbia's Graduate School of Journalism, where he's pursuing a Master of Arts degree in Business and Economics Journalism. Obey says he's interested in following dark money, especially from resource-rich countries, and says when resources are put in the hands of a few people, it perpetuates corruption, inequality, economic stagnation, and conflicts. Obey worked for Alpha Media Holdings in Zimbabwe, one of the largest media organizations there. He has won numerous national awards for his reporting, and in 2019 was selected as a 2020 fellow by the Nieman Foundation for Journalism at Harvard. Please join me in congratulating Obey Martin Manayiti.
My name is Obey Martin Manayiti, and I'm from Zimbabwe. I'm a candidate for the Master of Arts program, Business and Economics concentration at the Columbia Journalism School. I would like to thank the Association of Foreign Correspondents in the USA for this scholarship. I would like to thank the supporters and partners from the private sector for the amazing work that they are doing in supporting this association. This scholarship is so important to me. Funding graduate education can be a painful experience, especially for a person who has very limited personal savings and without a solid plan as to how to fund all the expenses. But journalism has never been more important. We are living in extraordinary times full of disinformation and bias. The spread of information has been made so easy by many channels coming out as a result of technological advancement. Yet still, people need accurate and balanced information. It is under these circumstances that journalists must stand up for the truth. In doing so, vigorous training is very essential. And so I'm very thankful to the association for this scholarship. Journalism itself has come under enormous attack from many fronts. One of them is political influence. As if it is now fashionable, you will hear people demonizing the media and describing journalists as fake or agents of Vox Media. While this is deplorable, it must not discourage journalists from doing their work. I come from a country and a continent which is endowed with vast mineral resources. These natural resources merely make a meaningful contribution to the local economies. Some politicians hold on to power just to have access to these resources. In short, these resources have become a source of inequality, poverty, conflicts, and a breeding ground for corruption. Journalism plays a very important role in shining the light in all these dark places. Despite corruption and threats to the media, it must come as a motivation for journalism to do more, giving people the truth that they need to make informed decisions and overcome the present challenges. In Zimbabwe, we say, if you educate one person, you have educated the whole community. In this sense, this scholarship will go a long way in uplifting the standards of journalism in my country and beyond. Thank you.
Our next awardee is a fellow Latin American, Marielle Lozada. Marielle is a Venezuelan journalist with 5 years of experience in health, gender, and migration issues both in Venezuela and Chile. She is currently getting her master's in social journalism at the City University of New York and is working as a freelance reporter and promoting journalism in Latin America through the Global Investigative Journalism Network. Her work has been published in La Tercera, Salud con Lupa, Efecto Cocuyo, among other publishers in the region. She has done fellowships with the Fundación Gabo and Columbia University through Diego Portales University. Let's hear it from Marion.
My name is Maria Lozada. I am a journalist. I am originally from Caracas, Venezuela, but I have been living in Santiago de Chile for the past 3 years. I am one of the more than 5 million people that fled my country in the last years. I am currently enrolled in the social journalism program at the City University of New York. I would like to start this by saying thank you to the Association of Foreign Press Correspondents in the US. Thank you for this opportunity and for your continuous support to journalists who are pursuing a career or a degree in the United States. Coming from Venezuela, I really know what it means to not have press freedom in a country. I know the danger and the threat that can face upon democracy and upon society as a whole. When one party is in charge of all mass media communication, they can control the narrative, and that is a really dangerous thing. We need to learn how to fight against that and how to tell the stories that matter. Being an immigrant taught me that one way we can do that is by doing journalism that is close to the people, journalism that can reach their audience wherever they are, and that can have a meaningful impact on their life, even if radio stations, newspapers, and TV channels can't do their job. Back in Venezuela, I worked as a reporter covering the food and health crisis for years. When I left my country, I focused on the issues immigrants had in Latin America, but without forgetting the reasons that made them leave their country. Back in Venezuela, journalists are harassed almost on a daily basis. We are one of the most corrupt countries in the world, and human rights violations are an everyday thing. My job as a journalist is to let people know that this is happening. I'm really thankful for this opportunity and for the support given to me, because this will let me learn how to do a better job.
Another exceptional scholarship awardee is Oluwafisayo Okare. Oluwafisayo is a journalism student from Nigeria, also at Columbia's Graduate School of Journalism. She holds a first-class degree in mass communication from Pan Atlantic University in Lagos and worked as a financial journalist at Steer Business, writing data-driven analysis on the Nigerian economy. She also covered stories of young people oppressed during Nigeria's 2019 elections and worked on a creative nonfiction book project for Yaga Africa and UK Aid about legislators under 30 years old who overcame threats to win elections. She volunteered with Watching the Vote as a data clerk, started as an editorial intern with The Native in Lagos, where she grew into a journalist and sub-editor. Please join me in welcoming Oluwafisayo.
My name is Oluwafisayo Okare from Nigeria. I am an MS journalism student at Columbia Journalism School in the city of New York. It is such a great honor and privilege to be able to receive a scholarship award from the Association of Foreign Press Correspondents in the USA. I am so grateful to all the private organizations that work with the AFC as well in making their mission a reality: Bayer, Procter & Gamble, Microsoft, NASDAQ. I am so grateful. Thank you. I'd also like to say a big thank you to all the journalists that have worked and are committed to ensuring that good information is accessible to readers across the world. I believe that one of the major contributions to growth and development across the world comes from journalists who put in the work to ensure that they do enough primary and secondary research to make quality information available to readers. At Test Business, where I have worked for quite a while now, the organization's commitment to independent journalism has given me the opportunity to go in depth, to provide exclusive pieces to readers, to also do exclusive interviews, and to write data-driven journalism pieces that makes good quality information accessible to readers, and that's very important to me. I know that with my time here in the US as a foreign journalist, I will be able to work with expert journalists across the world and also have the support of the AFC while doing this. Thank you so much.
Cecil, I am amazed of this group of awardees that we have. What beautiful careers and CVs. They're so accomplished.
They are so accomplished, Miriam. And we also have 7 scholarship awardees this year. That's up from 5. And many different graduate schools, people from so many different countries. So what an incredible year. And we can't wait to see what all of you scholarship awardees will accomplish. We're so proud of you. So as we said before, these scholarships would not exist without the substantial support from our partners who support our mission without expecting anything back in return. And today we are very eager to hear their messages and to thank them for their continuing support to help us expand our community and organization. We want to start with Bear. Bear has been an incredible benefactor who unconditionally supports educational resources for foreign journalists in the US to amplify their work and expertise. We are grateful to have Bear as an ally of the foreign correspondence community in America. And at this point, we want to welcome Ray Kerins, the Senior Vice President and Head of Corporate Affairs for Bear. We thank you, Ray, for believing in our mission and for taking the time to share your remarks during our awards ceremony. Ray?
On behalf of Bear in the United States, it is my honor and pleasure to speak to you today at the virtual awards ceremony of the Association of Foreign Correspondents in the United States of America. Bear was among the first supporters of the AFC-USA, and all of us here are incredibly proud to help this organization achieve its crucial mission of providing opportunity here in the States for journalists who are from outside this great country. We at Bear believe in a free and independent press. Thomas Jefferson once said, "Our liberty depends on the freedom of the press, and that cannot be limited without being lost." Those words have never rung more true than they do today, because indeed, any threat to the freedom of the press is a threat to the existence of our democracy. But we all know that quality journalism requires more than freedom of the press. It needs resources. Dwindling newsroom budgets threaten even the most established organizations. The past decade saw a 25% drop in newsroom jobs. Fewer newsroom jobs mean fewer crucial opportunities for the next generation of journalists to learn and hone their craft. At stake is far more than careers of these aspiring communicators, but what is truly at risk is the very existence of high-quality local, national, and international information upon which all of us rely to make some of the most important decisions. Decisions that affect our lives, the lives of our fellow citizens, and the lives of our children and our democracy. The 3 journalists chosen by the AFC to receive the Bear Scholarships this year as they build their careers are true standouts. Sarah Peter, based in St. Lucia, is a former United Nations Journalist Fellow and a foreign correspondent for Reuters. When asked by the International Journalist Network why she wanted to pursue a career in journalism, she said it was because of the calling to make a deep-seated difference. She said she wanted to bring positive change to the world by exposing corruption, demanding accountability, and empowering through stories of hope, impact, and perseverance. Mariel Lozada is a Venezuelan journalist who has also lived in Chile. She has reported on health, gender, and human rights issues in both of these countries. In some of her more recent works, she has explored the experiences of migrants living in the United States. Through her reports, we see such issues as health, food security, and politics through a different and keen set of eyes. Oluwafisayo Ama Inse-Ose is a Knight Badgett Fellow in Business and Economics Journalism who is earning her MBA at Columbia Business School. Formerly the production editor for the Pan-African news organization, The African Report, she is a business journalist and a native of Ghana who in 2018 was named one of the 100 most influential people of African descent under 40 as part of the United Nations International Decade for People of African Descent. These 3 outstanding journalists are emblematic of the bright future for this profession and, by extension, our society. The unrestricted support Bear offers through these scholarships, as well as the other support our company provides for training programs and donations to top professional organizations for journalists, comes with no strings attached. We are committed to offering journalists like these our support because it is the right thing to do for our country and for our world. Bear looks forward to continuing to partner with the AFC in their mission because we care about journalists, the trusted organizations in which they work, and the public who depends upon them. Congratulations to all the winners.
Thank you so much, Ray Kerins. There are also no words to express our gratitude to Microsoft. Microsoft is a strong partner of the Association of Foreign Press Correspondents, supporting not only our scholarship awards, but with the Microsoft News teams, the AFC has been able to provide a series of workshops to foreign journalists to help them improve their skills and reporting with a number of tools that Microsoft offers to journalists, publishers, and reporters. I have taken a lot of these workshops and highly recommend them. We are excited to host today in our ceremony Doug Dawson, General Manager of Global Communications of Microsoft.
Thank you. My name is Doug Dawson. I am the General Manager of Global Communications at Microsoft. And we are all proud supporters of the Association of Foreign Press Correspondents in the United States. And we firmly believe in their mission to educate and advance the field of journalism and the careers of international journalists. In the current landscape, both here in the US and around the world, the mission of the association is to support a free, empowered, and trusted press, and that has never been more important than it is today. On behalf of Microsoft, I want to congratulate this year's awardees and wish you every success in your studies in the year ahead. And I also want to wish the association for the important work that you do in supporting the discipline of journalism and the community of international journalists. Thank you.
Toyota is another supporter that put its trust in our work, programs, and scholarships. The Association of Foreign Press Correspondents thanks Toyota for its support and its partnership with us. We are so proud to have Toyota as a premium sponsor and supporter of our scholarships and programs. And we are excited to have with us today Scott Vazin, the Vice President and Chief Communications Officer of Toyota. Scott?
Hello, everyone. As Chief Communications Officer, my team's mission is to inform, engage, and to an extent, entertain key stakeholders such as media, consumers, our dealers, suppliers, business partners, and employees of our company's goals, products, and actions. In our business, it's critical to provide accurate and factual information. But with the rise of social media and a 24-hour news cycle, we've seen the importance of factual, non-biased opinions declining. From the young to older generations, more and more people are getting their news from all sorts of platforms where journalistic integrity, a balanced approach, and the truth has long been forgotten or ignored. As someone who has been in the communications business for about 3 decades, it makes me sad, and to be honest, it's frustrating to see how things get reported. That's why we partnered with the Association of Foreign Press Correspondents for these scholarship awards. We need to make sure the next generation is doing what they can to tell better stories that are more engaging, help improve the way society is informed, ensure our First Amendment rights are never eliminated, and since there are many diverse and divergent opinions in society, we need to make sure all voices are heard so no one group stands above another. This aligns with Toyota's core foundation of respect for people and continuous improvement. Now, are we putting a lot on the shoulders of the next generation? You bet. But reading the resumes of our scholarship recipients, I'm blown away by the depth and breadth of their studies and experiences, and have no doubt they will set the benchmark for their chosen fields. Our 3 scholarship recipients are In-jung Kim of South Korea, who is currently attending UC Berkeley Graduate School of Journalism, Sarah Peter of St. Lucia, Eastern Caribbean, who already earned master's degrees in communications and international journalism, and is now studying at the University of Albany for a master's in political science, and Victor Raison of France, who has earned 2 master's degrees in modern literature and documentary photography and photojournalism, and is now working on a master's of science in journalism at Columbia University. On behalf of Toyota Motor North America, I'd like to extend my congratulations to our scholars and to all recipients this year. We are counting on all of you to uphold the traditions, values, and integrity of the Foreign Press Correspondents. With your passion, talent, and efforts, I'm confident you will make a difference and help improve society for generations to come. All the best to each of you, and happy holidays.
Procter & Gamble and Damon Jones, Chief of Communication Officer, has been generously supporting the foreign correspondence community. P&G remains a dedicated supporter of the AFC, and we thank them for their commitment to our organization and our work. Thank you to Damon Jones for addressing the foreign correspondence community, and let's listen to his remarks.
Congratulations to the 2020 Foreign Press Correspondence Scholarship recipients. We could not be more proud of what you've done in Nigeria and Venezuela, and more importantly, what we know you will continue to do in connecting nations and, more importantly, connecting people around the world. Great journalism improves democracy. Great journalism increases the strength of our society, and great journalism increases accountability in every sector, both public and private. And great journalism deserves to be strengthened, nurtured, and supported along every step of the way. At Procter & Gamble, we're proud to do our part. Once again, congratulations.
Well, Miriam, this is the moment everyone's been waiting for. Our honorary awardees are 2 people we all know and respect who have distinguished themselves in their fields and have inspired so many of us with their work. We are very excited to have them with us today during our annual awards ceremony. Our first honorary awardee is my former colleague, Christiane Amanpour, in recognition of her lifetime contributions to the excellence of journalism. Christiane Amanpour is CNN's chief international anchor and host of CNN International's award-winning flagship global affairs program, Amanpour, in London, and Amanpour and Company, which airs on PBS in the United States. She joined CNN in 1983, and her illustrious career in journalism spans more than 3 decades. She started actually as an assistant on the international desk in Atlanta, and soon became the network's leading international correspondent, reporting on global crises and interviewing most of the top world leaders. She has received every major broadcast award, including 14 news and documentary Emmys, 4 Peabody Awards, 2 George Polk Awards, 3 DuPont Columbia Awards, the Courage in Journalism Award, and 10 honorary degrees. She was inducted into the Cable Hall of Fame, Broadcast and Cable Hall of Fame, and the Atlanta Press Club's Hall of Fame. She is a Commander of the Most Excellent Order of the British Empire and an honorary citizen of Sarajevo. Amanpour is a graduate of the University of Rhode Island. Let's go right now to our own Thanos Dimaris, President of the Association Foreign Correspondents. Thanos.
Hello, everyone. Thank you, Cecile. Thank you, Miriam, for sharing the stage with me here in New York to connect with CNN Studios in London and say hello to Christiane Amanpour. Christiane, there are no words to express how happy I am to have you with us here today during our virtual annual award ceremony and have the opportunity to convey on behalf of the boards of the Association of Foreign Press Correspondents, AFC United States, our deep respect and sincere appreciation for the substance and symbolism your career in journalism carries, signifying and compiling the hard work of an international journalist like you, who sticks to the facts, who pursues the truth through interpreting what is happening around us, and justifying opinion based on uncovering hidden aspects of news and revealing the motivations behind decisions from political stakeholders and key players in the public discourse. Your honorary award from the Association of Foreign Press Correspondents serves as a reminder that journalism matters, because people like you who do journalism matter as well because of your intelligence, because of your integrity, and your independence. Christiane, the floor is yours.
Thank you for your kind words, Thanos, and thank you to the board of the Association of Foreign Press Correspondents and the Foreign Correspondents Community in America for the annual Foreign Press Correspondents Honorary Award. Here it is. It's beautiful. It just reached me in London, so I'm delighted to be speaking to you from London. And just in accepting this, I'd like to say a few things. First and foremost, as journalists, we need to appreciate the fact that from now on, hopefully, this next administration, the Biden-Harris administration, will respect journalism and its place in American civil society and in America's democracy. It's called the Fourth Estate in the United States, which means it's a very vital bulwark to any democracy, in the most developed democracy and in emerging democracies. So we expect not to be accused of being fake news, not to be insulted by the highest official in the land anymore. Not just because it's about us, but because of what it does to enable and encourage other bad actors around the world to also take it out on journalists. When they hear America calling journalists fake news and denigrating journalists, then they take that example. So that, we hope, will come to an end. Secondly, I do strongly hope that this will also be an ability to relaunch what we do, and that is, as journalists, report without fear nor favor, to be aware that no democracy is solid without a free, fair, and independent journalistic community. So we need to recommit to that, and hopefully we'll be empowered to be able to do that. And I think finally, these last 4 years have perhaps shown us that we can no longer give our platforms, whether it be broadcast, cable, radio, digital, print, whatever it might be, we cannot just give them to anybody to use, even if that person is the most powerful office holder in the world. It has to be conditions-based, because we cannot afford and we cannot morally allow ourselves to broadcast lies, disinformation, misinformation, conspiracy theories. There must be a new contract between us, the journalists, and them, the elected officials, or any other actors in leadership roles around the world, that if they don't tell the truth and if they deliberately lie, we are going to hold them accountable, and we're not going to be offering them unfiltered and unfettered access to our platforms. So that's all I'd like to say from here in London. Thanks again for this amazing award. I'm really very thrilled. And I'd also like to congratulate the foreign journalists who've been distinguished this year with scholarships from the Association of Foreign Press Correspondents. I'm sure that you will have all had a ringside seat and understood the importance of what you've all just witnessed, a very peaceful American election. And up until now, quite an unprecedented aftermath. Perhaps in many of your countries, these desperate moves by a defeated leader trying to cling to power may sadly be familiar, at least in some nations around the world. But of course, you're in America. We're talking about America. And as journalists, you must always be committed to holding elected officials accountable for respecting the rule of law and for respecting democratic institutions. Of course, the basis of all of this is fact and truth. Thank you to all of you.
Wow, Christiane Amanpour, what an inspiration. Thank you so much, Christiane, for taking the time to participate in our ceremony. And now, it is time to present our Honorary Award for Lifetime Contribution to Public Service. It is our great honor to give this award to Dr. Anthony Fauci, who has done so much for the world during this pandemic, doing his best at keeping us calm and informed of the facts. Dr. Anthony Fauci is the director of National Institute of Allergy and Infectious Diseases at the NIH, where he oversees an extensive research portfolio focused on infectious and immune-mediated diseases. Dr. Fauci has made many contributions in basic and clinical research and is one of the world's most cited biomedical scientists. He is one of the principal architects of the President's Emergency Plan for AIDS Relief, a program that has saved millions of lives throughout the developing world. To present this award, the Vice President of the Association of Foreign Press Correspondents, Susan Modares, Tehani.
Thank you, Miriam and Cecile. Hi, everybody. In these challenging times, we've come to rely upon our institutions as bastions of knowledge and reason. We've been reminded of the virtues, the necessity of truth-telling, accuracy, and social responsibility. Our honorary guest today, Dr. Anthony Fauci, who has been director of the National Institute of Allergy and Infectious Diseases since 1984, has done much to embody these values. In fact, I feel there is a shared ethos between our professions. Dr. Fauci has been instrumental in steering America on a course towards a scientific, empirical response to the devastating health crisis we've all been grappling with. In the face of enormous pressure, he's been a beacon of confidence, rational, fact-based action, and of professional integrity. Journalists and foreign correspondents, too, are public servants. We are faced with a tide of misinformation every day and must take it upon ourselves to hone judgment in seeking the truth. And as professionals working in the public interest, perhaps most important is to come from a foundation of compassion, to remember the people we serve and the principles we strive to uphold. In recent memory, few public figures have done so with as much grace and character as Dr. Anthony Fauci, who is joining us today from Washington, D.C. It is my honor as Vice President and on behalf of the boards of the Association and Club of Foreign Press Correspondents in the United States to present you with our Lifetime Achievement Award in the category of Public Service.
Thank you for that very kind introduction and warm greetings to you all. It gives me great pleasure to join you virtually for your annual Honorary Awards and Scholarship Ceremony. It is an extraordinary honor to receive the Lifetime Achievement Award for Public Service of the Foreign Press Correspondents Association in the United States. I sincerely thank the association boards and leadership for this recognition. It is a beautiful award that will have a place of honor in my office. Knowing that my friend, the great leader and public servant, Secretary Jay Johnson, received this award last year makes this day extra special for me. I am in great company, especially since Christiane Amanpour also is being awarded tonight. I congratulate Christiane, and I also congratulate the foreign correspondents who are the awardees of the Association scholarships for their master's studies in the United States. Unlike Christiane and the many foreign correspondents watching, I am not a journalist, but I am a physician scientist and public health official. These are two very different career paths, but they have some common features. In my many years as a government official, I have been called upon over 6, soon to be 7 presidential administrations to communicate complex information and concepts with as much clarity as possible to a wide range of audiences. This is what you do every day. In my line of work, clear communications are especially important when new diseases emerge. During my career at the National Institutes of Health, my colleagues and I have encountered many infectious outbreaks and epidemics, going back to the early days of AIDS in 1981, through the anthrax attacks, SARS, pandemic influenza, Ebola, Zika, and now COVID-19. The current pandemic of COVID-19 poses the biggest threat to global health in more than 100 years. My experience with COVID-19 has reinforced some key lessons about communications that I have learned over many outbreaks in the previous 4 decades. For me, these apply to all audiences, whether I'm speaking to the president or vice president, a senator or congressman, a reporter or producer, scientific audiences, or the general public. First among these is fidelity to the truth. In the realm of science and public health, virtually all truths are revealed by science-based evidence and data. People need to hear the truth as it is, rather than as they might want it to be. Over time, truth-telling builds credibility. So we must always tell the truth, even if it means saying, "I do not know." Consistency in truth-telling is critical. Consistency maintains integrity. Second, transparency is key. From past disease outbreaks, we know that we earn public trust when we are open and honest and do not withhold information. We must make sure that everyone understands where we are going, what our goals are, and how we propose to achieve them. When we falter in transparency, some people understandably either stop believing what we say or stop listening altogether. Third, in the realms of public health and journalism and related fields, or for that matter, most any other profession, we must communicate clearly to achieve understanding. My tenet of precision of thought and economy of expression has informed how I think, write, and communicate with the public. We must use language that everyone can understand. Putting all these principles into practice is essential to building public trust in science as the pathway to resolving the COVID-19 pandemic and ensuring that the fruits of our research, such as vaccines, have the greatest potential benefit. As COVID-19 vaccines are deployed, we have formidable communication challenges ahead of us as we work to convey with honesty, transparency, and clarity the benefits of vaccination to sometimes skeptical audiences. I imagine many of you watching today are contributing important articles, radio and TV segments, and podcasts on these important issues. So let me say again how grateful I am to be honored by the Foreign Press Correspondents Association in the United States. Please stay safe, keep well, and continue your important and outstanding work.
Congratulations, Dr. Fauci. And I just want to say you are my personal hero. Thank you for everything you are doing. Well, Miriam, we have now come to the end of our ceremony. Although it was virtual, our appreciation for everyone involved in the AFC could not be more real and heartfelt. We want to thank all of you for joining us to honor and celebrate our inspiring awardees tonight.
Cecil, it was such a pleasure hosting this ceremony with you, and I hope we can do this again in person soon, and hopefully we can all celebrate these awardees, and we look forward to seeing everyone to celebrate our organization and continue contributing in person soon. Thank you so much for joining us.